And today on the Implicit Show, we got a special episode. We got a special guest, my friend Crystal. And today we're going to talk about why you should act your shoe size and not your age. Tapping into the true potential of the human spirit. This is Humanity Empowered. This is the Implicit Show. Hello. What is up? And welcome to episode 44 of the Implicit Show. I think it's episode 44. Pretty exciting stuff. We're making waves here. We're getting somewhere. And today we got a special guest. We got my friend Crystal. Crystal, we should do the
official.
So formal official handshake.
It's a very formal setting.
Yeah, because that's what we do here. Anyways, today I know Crystal. We go way back, don't we? I mean, not way back, but like
decades.
Way back enough. I mean,
yeah.
When was the first time? I think I met you through like Facebook first or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of saw you playing around and stuff, and then just through different social things and music things and outings, and then Facebook.
Yeah, and that's how I connect with so many people. Facebook. Thank God for Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also did the TEDx talk together, which was super cool. I loved your talk. It was like,
thank you.
What I loved about it was how different it was from a lot of the other talks.
Yeah, a lot of people said
like you hop up there in like a onesie.
Yep.
With like all this enthusiasm. I was like, yes, I like this. You got my attention.
Cartwheel on stage.
Yeah. Somebody
told me that I probably set the record for TED Talks, that nobody's ever cartwheeled on stage before. I don't know if that's true, but I'm gonna take that title.
You should take it. There's a lot of TEDx talks out there, TED Talks and stuff, but I haven't seen any with cartwheels. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. So today we're gonna talk about all sorts of stuff. I think it's gonna be a pretty fun, kind of playful, casual episode. So really we're gonna talk about why you should act your shoe size and not your age. And I love this topic because I mean, growing up, I was always like that super playful, kid. And then somewhere along the way, I think I like matured really, really fast. And then I thought, I really got to start acting my age. I really got to start acting really mature.
Yeah.
But, since that moment, I think I kind of dialed it back a little bit and have been able to enjoy more and play more and learn from kids and stuff. So, but before we get into any of that, let's ask Chris a little bit about her story. So tell us about your story, kind of, how'd you get to where you are today? And like, what are some of maybe the experiences that, made you want to do what you do today and made you who you are today?
Oh boy.
That's such a long question. I do that so heavy. Time. I hit that.
Tell us your life.
I hit that with everyone.
I grew up in Chatham, Kent. So this is my home and very close with family and stuff. Didn't spend as much time with friends as a lot of other people did. It was just a lot of family things. So family's always been important. They've always been super supportive of me. We always grew up being silly. I was always I was a really good student, but in my spare time I like to be active. I was always rollerblading or playing games with my friends around the town, and I kind of got into acting a little bit young, like drama classes and stuff, and that kind of brought me out of my shell. And I was always a joker, and I was always being silly, and I don't know, that's kind of where my inspiration came from, because my parents would always say, I love them, hi mom, hi dad, but they would always say, act your age, not your shoe size, right? And as a 12-year-old, they were very similar. I wore big shoes when I was 12, so it was confusing, but I never liked that. I was like, and growing up, your adolescence, you're like, well, that's no fun. So I kind of took that idea and twisted it on its head. Also, I went to school in university. I went to the University of Windsor for my undergrad in family and social relations and teachers college. And I also went to Fanshawe College for my DSW diploma, working with people and children with special needs. And then last year, I'm currently finishing my ECE diploma, so early childhood education. So I've kind of always worked with or been interested in children and kids and families and how they function and interact in society. So I kind of took my childhood scorning and my education and put them together, and I guess that's where I am now. Kind of trying to find a happy balance between the two.
Where does that come from? Where does your like I can tell like you have you know, a hunger to serve for the younger people, for the kids, and for people with special needs and stuff. Where does that come from?
I think I always felt like a child myself.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna come across, but like I've always kind of felt like a 10-year-old in a grown-up's body. Like once I got hit 10, like that was the peak, and then everything, like my body got older, but my mentality sometimes was not. Like obviously I'm mature enough for a full-time employment, please hire me. But just kind of that attitude, like and my parents are really fun. We always, even cleaning the house, we danced and we sang, and we're just kind of goofy and fun, and they've kind of taught me that you can be mature and responsible and do the things you have to do and still not take life so seriously and have fun and things like that. So
that's such a huge point, I think, because in this society, in this culture, so many people are focused on, you know, how could I make it happen? How could I achieve more? How could I do more? How could I, you know, be important? And then they kind of, you know, they let that kind of take over, and then they you know, fun and enjoyment and playfulness, that kind of stuff kind of falls to the side, and then we kind of lose, I think, what makes us human. You know, like, it's so much fun to have fun.
Think too hard about it, like oh, I have to read and do these tips to do these things, and you know, kind of like in my talk I spoke about how like you get back to your roots. You don't fight that or resist it. Obviously you grow up and things change and you lose a little bit of innocence, but that sort of playfulness and your dreams, you know, when you're a kid, you talk about people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? A princess, a dragon, you know, I want to be a dinosaur. And like, it's anything's possible when you're a kid, and we kind of lose that. And I think if we can get back to that sort of, why can't we be a dinosaur, you know, something weird like that, right? But you know, just that attitude, like like kids say they can do whatever. I'm gonna be a dinosaur for the day, sure, like you know what I mean? Don't lose that kind of innocent enthusiasm for life. I think that's the idea.
I love that. I remember when I was in like grade 4, they were making the rounds, and they were like asking everybody, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do? You know, you're a firefighter, doctor, you know, cool stuff like that. And he asked me, and I stood up and I said, I want to rock. And everybody in the class laughed.
That's very Dee Snider of you.
That's just who I was. I was like the class clown kind of kid, right? But it's interesting because, like I said earlier, it's funny because like somewhere along the way, I think it was like maybe in high school somewhere, I completely lost all of that. Like I wasn't playful or
because you want to be cool. Everyone wants to be cool in high school, right?
It was like, and I mean, I still get caught up in that sometimes, where I'm like, I'm always trying to be the mature one. I'm always trying to, like, you know, and it's stressful.
It is stressful.
It's stressful. It's
when you fight who you want to be and who you are, it's very stressful.
It's, you can't go in resistance with that.
I had a teacher in grade 4. I'll remember it very well. I had a lot of great teachers growing up, but one specifically, her name was Mrs. Fox, and she used to do everything so extreme, so dramatic. She used to dress up with a white crazy wig and a white lab coat and glasses and a mustache for science, right? She was this mad scientist, and she would flick the lights and move the curtains, and like just to get us interested and engaged in it, and like it was so much fun. And we had a traditional Japanese feast in the gym, and we dressed as much as we could like it, and ate traditional Japanese food, and like she immersed us in what we were learning. So it was so much fun, and like that's kind of what made me want to get into education. I had good teachers, but I never really wanted to be one until I met people who made it fun. It's like, oh wow, like I'm learning so much stuff, and it can be fun. It doesn't have to be serious. And
I could totally relate to that. I mean, I was a terrible student. I was so disengaged all the time. I didn't really connect with a lot of my teachers, and so growing up, I didn't really have that love for education or for school or for learning at all. But I think somewhere along the line, when I was like 20, 21, 22, I was 20, I think, and I started, looking online and finding speakers and authors and people who were teaching education and stuff, but they were doing it in a different way. And I liked that, because it wasn't just the standard way of teaching. It was a different way that worked for me.
Yeah.
And it's so important when you're like, I know all learning is state dependent, right? So if you want to learn something, you got to be in a proper state. If you're sitting there bored, disengaged, you're not tired, you don't really like anybody or the teacher or whatever, you're not going to learn as well as if you, like you said, you got a crazy teacher messing with the blinds.
You're like, oh my gosh, is this normal?
Yeah.
Pretty sure you can get in trouble for this, but no, it was great. But actually, that's a good segue into kind of the direction that education is going right now. I'm a supply teacher for the Lambton School Board, and I also work for Growing Together Daycare. And so kind of I work with kids basically from infancy to grade 8. I'm trained to do, and with special needs. So like I've seen a broad range of children and their needs and their styles, and also teaching institutions like traditional elementary schools. I've seen in Catholic schools how they do things, private schools, different kinds of daycares with different pedagogy and, ways that they do things. And I think the most important thing that I've taken from all that is that it's about the person and what they do with the curriculum and the pedagogy and everything. But right now there's kind of a shift in early childhood education. Things used to be very theme-based, like this week's going to be animals, so we're going to do everything about animals and cut out animal pictures and animal stuffies and whatever, and it was teacher-led. And now there's a shift towards what's called emergent education or learning or whatever, and that's where it's child-led or child-based learning. So if there's a kid who or a couple children who say there's a ladybug in the classroom or something, and they're following it along and they're just super interested in this ladybug, right? Instead of just being like, oh, let's get the ladybug out of the classroom and get back to our animal theme, right? Emergent curriculum states that, we pick up on this interest as educators and we say, oh, hey, like they're really into this ladybug. What can we do with this? So then we as educators plan our curriculum around their interests. So that means then we get, maybe we bring in some more ladybugs, or we have an insect catcher and we watch it and check it every day, or we have insect-based math manipulatives, right? Count the ladybugs, and you can tie in a whole curriculum based on their needs, and then they're engaged, right? Like I'm sure if you were like super musical as a kid, and you say you weren't into school, it was kind of hard for you.
Yeah.
Like if someone came in and was like, music, playing music, doing stuff like that, like wouldn't you be more into it?
Oh, 100%. Like I think that's the thing is, I was just so disengaged. I didn't care about the sciences or the geographies or any of that stuff. I just wanted to play music, or that was where my interest was.
Yeah.
And it seemed like I had a couple teachers who would support me in that, and they were like, yeah, that's really cool. Like, how could you improve on that? How could you go and create a career with that? And they helped me kind of point myself in a specific direction. But a lot of the other teachers were like, no, like, come on, like,
get back to
it's science class right now. We're trying to do science. And I'm just like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the new direction it's taking, because I think when you think of like a kid, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and the effect that a teacher or even just one day of a school, a lesson can have on the rest of their lives, like that compounds. And so I think it's so important to nurture and help them at that young age and shape them and help them kind of discover their interests. And I love how, like you're saying, you pick something they're interested in, and then you teach them about math, and you teach them about other things. Tie it into that. Yeah, that's huge.
And it's, I think that it's more work for the educators, teachers. It's harder for us, it is. But if you want to be a good educator and you care about children and the education they're getting, then it's worth it, right? And you know, once you get used to a style of executing curriculum, it's easier, but yeah, it's worth it. And like you said, like rather than growing up, I had a teacher growing up who was a music teacher. I'm not gonna say names, but she yelled at me one time because she came in and I had my foot up like on a chair, and I was like a student. Everybody called me the teacher's pet and everything because I was just, everybody liked me. All the teachers liked me. But I had my foot up on this chair and she came in, she yelled at me, and I just was so embarrassed, and I completely disengaged from music class the rest of my education in elementary school. And now like I'm trying to learn piano and ukulele and all these things because like I love it. But you know what I mean? When you have somebody that kind of ruins it for you or misses the point, then like it devastates you.
It creates like a negative association. I totally, and I bet you that's what happened to me in like science and math and English class, French
Keep bringing
class.
Up science. I feel so bad. I won't talk about the periodic table.
I was not into science. And it's interesting because like nowadays, like I'm so into like human psychology and the brain and biology and learning about that kind of stuff. But back then, I don't know what it was. It was just like
negative association. That's exactly what it is. It's brutal.
But like you said, you know, now you're teaching yourself all these instruments, ukulele, piano, that kind of stuff, because you found, you know, a new way, a new angle. You've created a new positive association, I'm sure. Yeah, right? I'm trying to take my own advice. So yeah. Hey, me too. Me too. So tell me more. Your TEDx talk, that's online now, right? People could go see that. Super cool. So tell me about some of the. Actually, I'm curious, like, going into it, preparing for the TEDx talk, how was that? Oh boy. Everybody was scared for me. Yeah, because they know me and they're like, I'm like, yeah, so I'm gonna wear my pajama onesie with the monkeys all over it, and they're like, what? and I'm like, yeah, and I was thinking I could do like a cartwheel on stage and pretend to act like a little kid, and they're like, what? And I'm like, oh, and at the end I'm gonna play my ukulele, which at that point I'd only started playing 2 months prior. And I was, you know, I only know a few notes still, but they're like, but do you know you don't know how to play the ukulele? But one of my points was, in my speech, one of the topics was, do things before you're ready. And in the talk, I went on about how we grow up and we have dreams and things we want to do. We still have goals, but we let our fear or our anxiety about, you know, like in high school, looking cool or not being like perfect at it stop us from doing things. And then eventually we just don't do them, or we wait too long, or things change. You know what I mean? It's just awful that we don't, like kids, they see something. I think the example I used in my talk was, like, if I pick up a kid at the daycare and I'm like holding them and playing with them, throwing them in the air, whatever, and they're having fun, they're laughing, and then all the kids rush over and they put their arms up. They're like, I want to do that. I want to do that. Me, right? Yeah. And so I just thought that was an interesting sort of imagery to compare how we are as adults with our goals, right? Like, why can't we just be like, oh, I see that, I want to do that, right? Like my ukulele, actually. I'm gonna show it here. Yeah, do. I bought this at Tony's One Stop Music Shop. Oh, sorry. No worries, Tony's. So shout out to them. And I just started. I took some lessons from Chris Rupert, and then I was teaching myself tab and stuff from YouTube and the internet, and I was practicing, and Amanda Palmer from the Dresden Dolls was kind of my inspiration. And I went to see her in Toronto, and I actually got it autographed by her. What? So that's pretty special to me. But she's also kind of a person who inspires me because she just kind of does what she feels, just goes with the flow, doesn't let anything stop her. So yeah, and she's outrageous. She's in a good way. Lovely. Yeah, I love her. But yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it anyway, because I know I don't know all the notes. I don't know tons of chords or anything or songs. Not necessarily ready. And I could screw it up at any moment, and it's being recorded, and there's 200 people in the audience. But the whole point is,
like do it before you're ready. And that kind of doing that on stage is like, okay, I was fine, but I should practice some more, right? And then that's going to keep me going with my goal, and it has been. And I bring it to schools and the childcare, and I play for them, and they love it. And I'm just really happy that I followed that kind of whim, even though I'm not like a professional.
Yeah, right? Well, it's you know, it's your thing that you picked up on your own and did yourself, right? So that's super exciting. What I loved about your talk is a lot of it was geared towards what we could learn from children. Yes. Right? Tell me some of the things that came from that, and some of the stuff you talked about.
I think there's so many things.
There's so many.
I know.
I remember the one specifically. I mentioned it in my talk. I spoke before, and I mentioned, you know, the importance of the word why, just the question why, asking why, like always knowing why. And I mentioned how, you know, kids are always asking why. You ask them, hey, what's this, what's that, and they're like, well, why? Or, well, because of this and this. And But why?
We did have the same. We didn't even plan that.
And then didn't even plan it. And then
I'm like, oh, you took my idea.
That's the thing. Anyway. But that's good, like, because it just shows like how there's common elements and stuff like that, right? Like we still, that's something that I always think of. You know, I'm always asking why, even when it's like obvious. Just ask it anyway.
Why not?
Yeah.
No, that was. Yeah, they do that all the time. And it can be hard when you got 30 kids in a class, or even your children at home and stuff, and you're tired. But that's how they understand the world, because they don't know that much at that age. But they learn fast, and that's how, because they're just, what? How does this work? Why do I do this? How do I do this? Why are you doing that? Well, why are you doing that? And it just keeps going, and that's how they're adding to their schema, and they're building on things, and they're like getting the world, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of, I don't know, stopped doing that as adults. And I think in this especially political climate that we're in, people get really afraid of asking questions. And I think, what was it? I talked about a John Steinbeck quote from East of Eden, and it was about, there are no ugly questions except those clothed in condescension. And it's such a beautiful line, because it's like, ask away. If you're just genuinely concerned or you want to know something, ask it, right? That's how we learn from each other. That's how we grow. And I think people are afraid to do that sometimes.
It's weird, you know, because it's like, I feel somewhere along the line, we're asking questions and someone just tells us to shut up. Yeah. And then we get told to shut up so many times, we're just like, well, I guess maybe I should just like shut up. Maybe I should just
keep getting rejected.
Don't ask, right?
Yeah.
But it's that curiosity and wonder that helps us, you know, understand the world and grow and build our imagination and stuff. So
yeah, that's curiosity and innocence about things, right? If you don't know, you just ask. And you don't know, children don't know that it's inappropriate to ask about some things, right?
No.
Like if I had $1 every time a kid said, do you have a baby in your belly, or is that a gray hair in your head, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so mad at you right now. But like, you can't be mad, because they're just so innocent, right? And you know, some things are socially inappropriate to say, and we learn social cues so we don't ask people about the baby in their belly. But yeah, but other than that, I think it's really important to just keep having just genuine conversations with people and asking them, you know, culture is a big one, right? You don't want to offend somebody by asking about their culture or traditions, but you know, if everybody's really gracious and just willing to learn from each other, then it should work out fine.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear about maybe some of the things that maybe you learned after the talk. So you did this talk, is back in October, and we're in March now. And you've been working with the daycare with kids and stuff. Has there been something that has come up that you've learned since, or maybe something that's been reoccurring that you've learned?
There's something that comes to mind that's not really related to my talk, but one of the other talks. Someone spoke about, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was a Japanese term for like when a vase or something is broken into pieces and you put it back together. It's that much more beautiful because of what it's been through or something. And
they like put it back together with gold and stuff, right? Yeah.
Gold line. Yeah, see, it must stuck with you too. Yeah. But just that whole idea that mistakes and things we've been through that were really difficult don't make us less of a person. They actually make us better if we learn from them and can grow and help others and keep our optimism about life. Yeah. So that was kind of nice. I like that.
Yeah, that's come up for me too. You know, I find I've kind of been seeking failure and seeking mistakes lately. Like not like, okay, I want to fail or I want to mess up, I want to make a mistake, but like, you know, when I'm scared and I'm just like, I'm not sure, I just like go for it. Like that for me is like, that's the best feeling. Yeah. Because I remember the first time I got on stage to perform, I was so nervous. Yeah. I was so nervous. Like, it was the most nervous I'd ever been. Yeah. But then when I was up there, it was the most alive I'd ever felt.
Yeah. Once you get going.
Ever since I've been seeking that. Like that's why I get on this podcast 5 days a week and I perform all the time. And because it's like I love that nervousness, that adrenaline that comes from that. And you know, there's so many times where I've felt that fear and I've done it anyway, and then I made a mistake, and then I feel even more fear. Yeah. It's like but those
at least you're doing it, right? That's the whole point. Is you could do it and screw up and make a mistake, and that's embarrassing. It's mortifying. But ultimately, you learn from it, and it's still way better than not doing it for fear of whatever. Right? Because then you'll never know. Yeah. Sounds so cliche, but
hey, man, cliche is so true though. The cliche sayings are also the sayings that I think people forget to live by.
For a reason.
Yeah, like people forget to live by these things, and that's why we mention them all the time and say them all the time, because it's like, you know, oh yeah, I heard that, I know that. Oh, do you though? Like, are you living it? Yeah. Are you actually? And so that's why that's huge. Yeah. Anyways, you got your ukulele here. I really want to get into that. But before we pick that up, do you have any like last words, any like last lessons or last things you want to share related to acting your shoe size?
Maybe just a shout out to people who I think are doing that.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
Just people who really inspire me. I think if I can brag about you right in front of you.
Please.
One of the first things I noticed about you was just your enthusiasm and optimism. And I'm a little bit older than you, but like growing up, everybody was always kind of had this attitude about Chatham. Like, Chatham's so dumpy and nothing's going on in Chatham. It's such a dive and stuff. And it's really hard hearing that, especially when you grow up here and you're like, this is my hometown.
This is all I know.
And everybody calls it a dive. It's awful.
Yeah.
But you started getting on the music scene and doing these things and starting things with Julie, and you were just so optimistic all the time. You're like, I love Chatham. Come out to Erio and hear me jam and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, this guy loves this place, and that's great.
Yeah.
And by having that attitude and starting to do things in town and stuff, like, you're actually making it better. And I just think that's great because like, more people need to do that. It's really easy to complain and, oh, this is going on, that's boring, and the Capitol isn't getting enough. You know, it's so easy for people.
There's a lot of complaints,
to complain, but they're not actually doing anything. Mark Reinhardt, I don't know if you know him.
That name sounds really familiar.
He works at Art Space, and he's really pushing, like, kind of revitalizing that place and getting people from all over Chatham of any kind of demographic out involved in the art community. Because, you know, sometimes it's kind of a scary, oh, I'm not an artist, and it's real fancy, and he's trying to make it like not like that. Yeah. And I love him for that. I love you, Mark. My parents for their optimism. They're the king and queen of those cliche sayings, but those have really got me through a lot of hard times and stuff like that. And there's a lot of friends I know. Ashley Soroka's Chadberry Photography, who took my headshot for this thing. So shout out to
great
him.
Photo.
But like, they're all starting their own businesses and trying to make Chatham better that way. They're like, no, we're not gonna move here or there. We're going to stay here and use our talents to make the city better. And I just think that's so admirable, right? Instead of like being stuck here and being unhappy, we're actually going to, oh my gosh, I was going to say be the change we want to see in the world, but that sounds so cliche.
But it's true, you know, like
that's what they're doing. They're actually doing it. So I
love seeing that, you know, people who are not just talking about it or not complaining about it or not just giving up, but they're actually doing stuff.
Yeah, and in turn motivating others, right?
Yeah, without even knowing it too. Like I've had so many people come up to me who said, you know, oh, I love what you're doing. It's really inspiring. I'm like, do I know you?
Yeah.
Wow. Like
I do now.
And then there's people who I look up to in Chatham and in the Chatham-Kent area who probably don't even really know who I am. Who I'm like, wow, like I love what you're doing. Like it inspires me to start my own business and do my own thing and build the community that way.
Yeah. We're a community. We have to act like it, right? Instead of just complain and like just love everybody. I don't know. Your guitar. Love.
Yeah.
It's so great.
I got love like everywhere in my house. There's like love here, love on my there, love. Just gotta remind myself of the love.
Yep.
So I want to hear you play some ukulele.
Oh boy.
So I'm gonna move this camera and it's gonna be you and you're gonna jam some songs.
Oh no. And you're gonna be jamming off screen?
Maybe. I'll just sit here and sing backups.
All right. Let me figure this out. I'm just gonna do an excerpt. It's all me. So this is not my original song. This is Vance Joy, Riptide. I'm ripping him off by doing this song. But I like doing this. I like doing covers for children at the daycare and supply because they can recognize them and sing along. A lot of the nursery rhymes, they don't know nowadays. They're like, do you know Whip and Nay Nay? I'm like, no. I can do you know the Muffin Man? But oh
no.
Yeah, but they know some of the pop hits, so that's what I'm gonna do.
The nursery rhymes are gone.
I know. So let me tell you about Baba Black Sheep. Anyway, okay. If you know the chorus, you can join in too.
Yeah.
I would love some backup vocals.
I'll sing.
Okay.
You guys will hear me in the background.
Good. Backup. Backup then. I was scared of dentists and the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. Oh, all my friends are turning green. You're the magician's assistant in my dreams. Oh. Lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. There's this movie that I think you'll like. This guy decides to quit his job and heads to New York City. This cowboy's running from himself, and she's been living on the highest shelf. Oh. Lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Great backup.
You'd be like a super cool supply teacher to have. Walking in with the ukulele, getting all the kids to sing along.
Do your math. Now listen to the song.
We got a song for you. Anyways, we'll do like the super formal handshake.
Yes.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Great talk.
How could, if people want to connect with you and you know, learn more about what you're doing, how could they connect with you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm not giving anybody my private number, but
Facebook.
Yeah, find me
Crystal
on Facebook.
Martens.
I also have my own face painting business, so they can.
Yeah.
Yep. Fun Time Faces. Yeah, Facebook. Oh.
Yeah. Facebook. That's
where it's at.
Fun Time Faces. Get your faces painted.
Mm-hmm.
Get your ukulele songs in. It'll be really good.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys want to support with what we're doing at Implicit, go patreon.com/implicit. All the information's there. Other than that, I just gotta say thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's always super fun to have you guys here, to have special guests, just to have fun chats and do it on the internet for everybody to hear and for everybody to engage in. And,
yeah, thanks for
be a part
coming.
of the community. So
yeah,
awesome. High five. Peace sign.
Peace.
Oh wait, I gotta click stream. See you guys.